we're going to look at how to change the name of a git command that we use regularly when we're modernizing legacy code. Git blame is a command that allows us to see the person who last made a change to a specific line of code within our repository, which can be really useful as we're diving through a code base and trying to make changes. The challenge is that the term blame to describe this action can have some negative impacts. So in this video, we're going to define blame, understand how word choice or framing matters. We'll go over the technical aspects of how to change and remove an alias, and then also provide some additional documentation for further reading. So first, let's look at what blame means. Dr. Brené Brown is a researcher at the University of Houston who studies blame, and she offers the following, that blame is the discharging of discomfort and pain. It has an inverse relationship with accountability and is corrosive in relationships. When we build software, we want healthy teams that are accountable to each other, which is particularly important in legacy code where the issues tend to be significantly complex. You might be asking yourself, what's the big deal? So what if a little command requires us to use the word blame? Well, to answer this, we'll look at the work of Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman on framing. Framing is a cognitive bias where word choices impact our perspective. So this means that if we type in the words git blame to figure out who changed a line in our code base, we're actually telling our brains that we want to perceive that work as poor quality or our colleague as less competent. And that doesn't go very far for helping to build teams. So instead, we want to use a term that's neutral. I personally like the term git history, but some teams have gone further and they assign a positive framing by using a term such as git praise. Let's dive in and see how you might do this. First, if you don't have Git installed on your computer, you can download it at git-scm.com/downloads. That's the official site and documentation for Git. There's also a really useful tutorial to help you set up the installation over on that website. Once you have Git installed, the next step is to pull up your terminal window and navigate to the repository that you want to work with. So in my case, I'm going to be working on a project called Awesome Legacy Code. So a couple of cd or change directory commands gets me to the right place. So first, let's look at what happens when we run the command git blame on a file. So in this case, I want to look at the README. So I'm going to say readme.md. So this is what it looks like normally. And as you can see, it's really useful. You have all of the different numbers of the lines of code along with the people who have changed it last and the timestamp. Now, I want to use the term git history. But that's not a command in Git. So what I can do is create an alias. First, I'm going to run config. So this tells Git that I want to configure something. Next, I want to tell Git that the thing I want to configure should be applied to all projects and not just this one. So for that, I'll use the global command, which is 2 dashes and the word global. Now I can use the alias command. So alias and then dot. And then I want to use the term that I want to use. So in my case, history. And then the term that I want to link it to. So blame. Now, if I run git history again, it works just like git blame. How cool is that? Now, you might be asking yourself, does this replace blame, git blame? No. It just creates almost a carbon copy of it. So let's say that a coworker comes over and they're used to running git blame. Well, it'll work just fine. Now, if you ever decided that you wanted to remove an alias, you can do that easily by using the unset command. So again, I want to say git config to configure, and I want this to be global. Now I use -- unset, and again, the alias command, alias, and then whatever term I don't want to use anymore, history. Now, if I try running git history again, it doesn't work. There are a lot of different cool things that you can do with aliasing and with git blame. So if you wanted to dive into some of the more advanced concepts, I would encourage you to go to the official Git documentation at git-scm.com, and here are a couple of resources to get you started.